So, what's the real difference between a brand that just completely collapses under pressure and one that stages a comeback so legendary it's literally taught for decades? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the incredibly high stakes world of reputation management. This is a world where one wrong move can cost billions, but one brilliant response, well, that can create a legend.
These aren't just headlines you skim past. No, these are full-blown corporate nightmares. These are those moments where decades of hard work, of careful brand building can just evaporate in an instant. One flawed product, one viral video shot on a phone, and suddenly a company isn't just having a bad year. It's fighting for its life.
30 billion euros. That was the estimated cost of Volkswagen's emissions scandal. Just let that number sink in for a second. It's so much more than just fines and recalls. That is the staggering bottom line price tag of broken trust. It's what happens when a reputation goes into absolute freefall. And that brings us to the core question, the big one we're tackling today. Because here's the secret. It's not about avoiding crisis. In this world, that's pretty much impossible. The real secret is mastering the response. It's about strategy, it's about speed, transparency, and really, truly understanding the fragile nature of human trust.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into why reputation has become a company's most valuable and most vulnerable asset. Then, we're going to decode the actual playbook the pros use. We'll break down two iconic comebacks, explore the new rules of the game in this digital age, test what you've learned, and then we'll wrap it all up with a clear, actionable roadmap. So, let's start by setting the stage. In today's hyper-connected world, a company's reputation isn't some fuzzy concept for the PR department. No way. It's the absolute foundation of its value, and maybe even its survival. And look, this isn't just a feeling. These are the hard numbers. A massive 87% of executives say that reputation risk is their top strategic concern. And here's why that is. Just look at us, the consumers. 93%, almost all of us, check reviews before we buy something. And 3/4 of shoppers will pick a brand they already know and trust over another one. So you see, reputation isn't just about what people think, it directly drives decisions in the boardroom and every single choice we make at the checkout. Okay, so when a crisis blows up, the absolute worst thing you can do is just wing it. The professionals, they rely on a framework, a proven theory that helps bring some order to all that chaos. And that's what we're going to break down right now. This right here is the secret weapon, Situational Crisis Communication Theory, or SCCT. Think of it like a diagnostic tool for a doctor. It's not about just having a generic apology ready to go. No, it's a strategic framework that helps you first understand the crisis from the public's point of view. Then you figure out how big the threat really is, and only then do you pick the right way to respond. And the first step is figuring out which cluster the crisis falls into. So, SCT basically simplifies all the chaos into three buckets. First, you've got the victim cluster. This is where the company is a victim too, right? Think product tampering from an outsider or a hurricane hitting a factory. Then there's the accidental cluster. Here, the company's actions weren't on purpose. A technical glitch, an unforeseen product issue, people get that accidents happen. But then there's the most dangerous one, the preventable cluster. This is where the company is seen as being negligent or acting irresponsibly. Mismanagement, misconduct, you get the idea. Once you know the cluster, you pick a response. You can deny it, diminish it, or commit to rebuild. The whole key is matching the right response to the right cluster. Now, theory is one thing, but let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world. We're going to look at two of the most famous comebacks in corporate history. Each one faced a totally different crisis in a totally different time. This is the case study that basically wrote the playbook. 1982, Johnson & Johnson faces an absolute nightmare. In SCCT terms, this was a textbook victim cluster crisis. They were the target of a malicious attack. Legally, they could have just denied responsibility and worked with the cops behind the scenes. But instead, they chose a full-on rebuild strategy. They put public safety first, pulling every single bottle off every shelf, costing them $100 million, which was a fortune back then. And they didn't just fix the problem. They invented the tamper-resistant packaging we all see today. They didn't just recover, they became the gold standard for doing the right thing. Okay, now let's fast forward to the crazy speed of the social media age. In 2018, a viral video from a Starbucks in Philly ignites a global firestorm. This was a clear, preventable cluster crisis. There was no one else to blame. Starbucks knew they couldn't deny or diminish this. They had to rebuild. The CEO came out immediately with a direct, personal apology, taking full ownership. But words weren't going to be enough. So their next move was huge. They closed over 8,000 stores, losing millions in sales, to put 175,000 employees through mandatory racial bias training. It was a costly, very public, and very real signal that they were serious about making a change. So the lessons from J&J and Starbucks? They're timeless. But the battlefield itself? Well, it has been completely transformed. Today, a crisis unfolds at the speed of a tweet, and there are all new forces shaping the rules of the game. This study from Nigeria's financial sector is fascinating because it gives us a snapshot of challenges that are honestly universal. The number one problem? Controlling misinformation, according to 78% of managers. We all know the saying, a lie can get halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on. After that comes delayed response times. The struggle for a big company to move as fast as social media. And finally, a simple lack of preparation. 64% of PR officers admitted they hadn't really been trained for this new reality. Amidst all this digital chaos, there's a powerful force that's often working behind the scenes, the regulator. And they don't just show up to hand out fines. Their real job is to build a foundation of trust across the whole market. They work to strengthen ethics, they encourage everyone to work together, and they push for honest, transparent standards. Basically, regulators create an environment where companies are held accountable and where a comeback is even possible because the system itself is trusted. Okay, so we've covered the stakes, the theory, the big case studies, and the modern challenges. Now it's your turn. Let's see what you've picked up. Time to put your knowledge to the test. All right, first question. Thinking back to that huge 1982 case, what industry-changing innovation came directly out of Johnson & Johnson's crisis response? Was it A, gel capsules, B, child-proof caps, or C, tamper-resistant packaging? And the answer is C, tamper-resistant packaging. If you got that, you get a key lesson here. The best crisis responses don't just fix a problem, they create a whole new standard. By putting customer safety above everything, J&J turned a potential company killer into a chance to become a leader in safety. Question number 2. How did Starbucks show they were serious about change after that 2018 incident? Did they just A, issue a new mission statement, B, close 8,000 stores for training, or C, donate to charity? Yep, the correct answer is B. They closed over 8,000 stores. This wasn't just a press release. This was a real financial sacrifice that sent a clear message to everyone, employees and customers, that they were taking this deadly serious. It proved that actions really do speak louder than words. Okay, time for a theory question. According to SCCT, When a crisis is seen as preventable, when the company is clearly at fault, what's the main strategy you should use? Should you A, deny, B, diminish, or C, rebuild? The answer has to be C, rebuild. When it's your fault, trying to deny it or downplay it just makes things worse. It destroys whatever little trust is left. The only real way forward is to own it, apologize sincerely, and take real, concrete steps to rebuild that broken trust from scratch. All right, question 4. This is a key number from the beginning. Just how important is reputation risk to the folks in the C-suite? Is it a top priority for A, 55%, B, 72%, or C, 87% of them? The answer is C, a whopping 87%. And this number really proves that reputation management isn't some soft issue anymore. It's a core strategic pillar at the highest levels of business because they know it's tied directly to the bottom line and long-term survival. And for our last question, let's focus on the modern battlefield. What did that study of Nigerian financial institutions find was the main tool for communication during a crisis today? Was it A, press releases, B, social media, or C, legal statements? The answer is B, social media. A full 80% of them said they use social media as their primary tool. This just confirms it. The conversation has moved online. The battle for a company's reputation is now won or lost in real time on these platforms. Awesome job on the quiz. Now, let's bring all of this together. Let's boil everything we've covered down into a clear, simple guide for navigating a crisis in today's world. So here it is, your roadmap. First, be prepared. Have a plan before the fire starts. Second, act fast and be transparent. The first 24 hours are everything. Own the story with honesty before someone else does. Third, remember, actions speak louder than words. A costly store closure or a product innovation shows real commitment. Fourth, master the digital world. Social media is where reputations are made and broken now. And finally, everything you do has to point to one ultimate goal: to rebuild trust through authentic, ethical action. So we've seen how legends are made by mastering a crisis. But looking ahead, a new, tougher question comes up. In an age of instant outrage, where AI can create deep fakes that look completely real, has the game fundamentally changed? Is a full comeback, a true recovery, even possible anymore? Or is every single brand, no matter how great, now living just one click away from a crisis they can never come back from?